Have you ever wondered the differences between when a buyer says they're pre-qualified, pre-approved, or pre-underwritten? Well, I sat down with Nick Crichton from Prosperity Home Mortgage, and he went through the differences between the three. If you've been in the business for a while like myself, this video will give you a better idea of how to explain the differences between the three to your sellers. And if you're a new agent tuning in, this should give you a good idea of what the differences are between the pre-qual, the pre-approval, and being pre-underwritten. Let's go ahead and get into the content.
So what is the difference between being pre-underwritten, pre-qualified, pre-approved? What are the differences between these things? Because I know some people consider a pre-approval and a pre-qualification the same thing, and other people say, nah, it's completely different.
Pre-qualification means we pulled credit and it looks they got a good credit score, so they're pre-qualified. This day and age, that really doesn't hold much clout. That doesn't mean much. Pre-approval means I did an application with a lender. The lender looked at the numbers that I provided and ran it through our kind of automated underwriting system or whatever it may be. And it looks like, the numbers check out. So they're pre-approved. We have a kind of the next step. We call it our buyer advantage, and that's a fully underwritten loan. So that's where we take that next step from pre-approval to buyer advantage. And that's where we'll underwrite the file without a property, without title. We're going to underwrite based off your income, assets, credit, and have that fully underwritten loan. So, especially in this day and age, that can hold a lot of value.
Yeah, I think a lot of buyers don't realize that if they provide like a pre-qualification with their offer, the listing agent's going to be like, okay, well, and he's going to explain to his seller like, I don't necessarily love this, this pre-qualification letter. We don't know if they're actually approved.
Yeah, the pre-qual is generally they hit a benchmark in their FICO or their credit score, and that's about it. The pre-approval is okay.
They're like, job. I didn't know I needed a job.
Yeah. But the buyer advantage, the fully underwritten loan, I think that's huge. There's not a lot of other lenders doing that right now, just because there is a cost to doing that. But I think it separates your clients from maybe others. If you have a seller and there's 4 offers on a house, 3 of them are pre-approved, but one's fully underwritten, that holds more clout. I think there's definitely some added value to having that, because underwriting is when things come up, questions on income, questions on your paycheck, that could delay a deal and sometimes even kill a deal. But by going through the buyer advantage program, we've already answered those questions. We've already done our due diligence, and we are fully underwritten, and we can essentially, in lieu of a pre-approval or instead of a pre-approval, we can offer you essentially a loan commitment when you go to make an offer on a house.
So when you let's say I have a client who has gone through all of that buyer advantage and we want to make an offer on a house, how quickly can you close then if you've already got some of that initial stuff out of the way?
We can turn it pretty quickly. We've done a couple deals in 10, 12 days, even sooner. I mean, compliance-wise, we need at least 7. But if you're already through underwriting, we've taken a big chunk out. Really, the only other things we need are title, which we can rush, and appraisal, which we can rush. And then depending on the type of property, where it is, we might be able to turn that pretty quickly and turn the closing date pretty quickly. So if it's something that behooves the buyer and behooves the seller, and it's a conversation I'll have with the buyers, like, hey, it's going to be a whirlwind. If I need something, I'm going to have to get it right away. But yeah, we can turn a deal in 7, 8, 9, 10 days if business days.
You mentioned that you could get the appraisal rush, and I've seen some deals where there is no appraisal. What's the example of a time when an appraisal is unneeded, or you guys can get a waiver on that appraisal?
So if you have a minimum of 10% down, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and you have a good file, good scenario, good credit, there is a potential that with that down payment you could get an appraisal waived, which just means Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac have enough data on that house, that address, and it's within their kind of standard deviation or margin of error, that the value that you're offering, that you're willing to purchase the home for, is within that kind of realm. And Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac will allow us to do an appraisal waiver. We're comfortable with that dollar amount. So the more data points to have on that house, the more likely it is to have an appraisal waiver. So, if you're in a suburban or city area, usually there's a lot of homes that have sold that are similar. that we can use. If you get a little bit further out state, have some acreage, a little bit more unique property, it's a little bit tougher just because there's not enough data points to maybe support that value. But yeah, there's a potential, depending on the down payment, depending on the program, where the home's located, that we could waive the appraisal. And that's up to the borrower. We give them that option. Say, hey, you're eligible for this. Do you want to waive it or do you not want to? That's their decision, but there is opportunity for that.
All right, I hope that you enjoyed that interview. If you did, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and if you want to see the entire interview, click right here.